What's going on, everyone? My name is Jake. This is where I talk capes, and today we're here to talk about the MCU as a whole. I had a few videos lined up. I actually had a couple of videos recorded, didn't get a chance to edit them. Probably wasn't going to put them out just because I'd missed the time of it being relevant. But I did also have one almost ready to go. And then the Comic Con happened, which I forgot was coming up. Marvel went to Hall H. Marvel had the big moments of the weekend, as they always do almost every year. And I just thought I would talk about that, talk about the MCU going forward, talk about all the big announcements from the panel, and kind of my thoughts on everything going forward. Now, I'm recording this on Tuesday morning. I'll put this out tonight, this evening. I have just spent a couple of days going over everything, formulating my thoughts on everything. But I do just want to, get it all out there, talk about this, because it's some huge news, especially considering where Marvel's been over the past couple of years. There's a lot here, a lot of like steadying the ship, and a lot of sort of pointing us in where we're going to be going in the future. And I could go through the panel chronologically and go through everything that happened at the panel one by one as it happened, but honestly I think we need to start with the news that we have a new Black Panther. That's right, David Johnson of Rye Lane, The Long Walk, Alien Romulus, and honestly, probably my favourite younger actor of the past few years. I've been on this train since I watched Rye Lane. I've kind of sought out most things he's done since. I've not watched Romulus yet. But obviously he's fantastic in Rye Lane, he's fantastic in The Long Walk, by all accounts he's fantastic in Romulus. Everything that he's been doing over these last few years have been incredibly interesting. And just spectacular. He is phenomenal, and he is now T'Challa Jr. He'll be playing the grown-up son of T'Challa and Nakia, who we met at the end of Wakanda Forever. He is going to be the new Black Panther going forward, and I am an absolutely massive fan of this. Now, it does leave a couple of questions for me, because I like how Black Panther Wakanda Forever ended. I like the idea that M'Baku is going to take on the mantle of the Black Panther, whilst the throne is kind of not necessarily up for grabs, but there's a little bit of turmoil in it. Sure, he doesn't want the throne, but Wakanda kind of needs a protector. It needs the Black Panther. I like the idea that M'Baku is going to be that, and I think we might get to see that in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Obviously, M'Baku is the person who greets the Fantastic Four when they arrive in 616. There was that incredible moment from the teaser that they released where, M'Baku says, "I'm M'Baku, King of Wakanda," or whatever, and Ben goes, "Oh, I'm Ben from Yancey Street." Like, I love that dynamic. And I'm excited to see what they do with M'Baku as the Black Panther in this one or two movies, because I really like the idea of kind of the difference between those characters. I think obviously Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa was, and Chadwick Boseman obviously just a much smaller man than Winston Duke. Winston Duke is a mountain of a man. I think there was talks that he might have been up for Superman, which I would have loved. I mean, David Corn Sweat's fantastic, but I also love the idea of Winston Duke as Superman. I think he's amazing in everything I've seen him in as well. Like, I particularly love him in Us, Jordan Peele's Us, as well as M'Baku. I think he's fantastic in everything I've seen him in. So I'm excited to get this different dynamic of a Black Panther, even if it is temporary, with this larger, more of a brawler character as the Black Panther compared to Chadwick Boseman, and what we have to assume will be what David Johnson does, which is like a sort of more athletic, wiry, sort of trickier fighter. So I'm excited to see what they do with that going forward. I'm just excited for Black Panther 3 in general. I think Wakanda Forever had its problems. Wakanda Forever had its issues. I don't think it's anyone's favourite MCU movie. Maybe Letitia Wright and her family's favourite MCU movie, but apart from that, like, I don't really think it's going to be anyone's favourite MCU movie. It's not a bad movie by any stretch. I just kind of think with the cards they were dealt was obviously awful. It was a bad hand to get dealt with, the passing of Chadwick Boseman and COVID and delays and all of these things, but mainly the passing of Chadwick Boseman. How do we honour that? How do we honour that legacy? How do we honour that role? Yeah, they could have recast him. I don't think that would have been the wrong decision, but they made that choice to honour the man who brought this character into the mainstream, and to so many people embodied that character and is that character to so many people. And I have seen a lot of criticism around the casting of David Johnson, people saying, they'd rather just, do a 20-year time jump or whatever, and than have another movie with a lead female hero in the Black Panther mantle. But I don't necessarily think it's the wrong decision. I completely understand where that critique comes from, but they had so many more stories they wanted to tell with T'Challa. And it just feels like with this, they can use those ideas. Maybe look at the possibilities of where they were going to go. Because as I say, Wakanda Forever came out of a place of necessity, as opposed to like a place of creativity. It came from, this is what we have to do now, as opposed to this is what we want to do. I'm not opposed to David Johnson being in anything ever at all. I think he's amazing. Hopefully, as well, this bodes well for the other bit of news I did want to talk about, and maybe I'll talk about a little bit more in one of the videos, as I say, I recorded. The big news, in fact, no, I'll just mention it here. The big news coming out around the X-Men is that Cooper Hoffman is apparently in the lead for Cyclops. Now, people on Twitter have been mean and evil because he's not got a six-pack. Cooper Hoffman's one of the best actors out right now. If he wants to do it, let him do it. I think he has everything to play Scott Summers really well. There's also this photo of him in a jacket, which I'm already sold. I really like the idea of Cooper Hoffman as Cyclops. Obviously, I don't think we're going to be getting any X-Men casting news until, well, today's Tuesday, so I guess tomorrow when we find out that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. But obviously, I think once we get through Doomsday and Secret Wars, obviously we go into this new mutant phase of the MCU, and we kind of see what's going on with it. I'm just interested to see where they do go. I think Cooper Hoffman came out of left field for me. I did not expect Cooper Hoffman to be linked with Cyclops at all, but I'm really into it. And he gets to hang out with his best friend. We need to contrive a way to have Scott visit Wakanda. And let him and his best friend just hang out. Just be in movies and hang out forever. The next thing I do want to mention is the Ghost Rider news. Yes, that's right, in case you didn't see it. Ryan Gosling is Ghost Rider. Yes! The movie is directed by Sean Levy, so let's get our expectation right back down. Let's get our expectation back down here. I'm torn on this. I am torn on this because Ryan Gosling has been shouting for Ghost Rider since 2021, maybe earlier. Ryan Gosling has been saying publicly for years, "I want to be Ghost Rider," and I'm so excited for that. I understand what people are saying about, I saw a tweet that said, there's currently not really many young cool guys in Hollywood, and it's maybe going to hurt the industry going forward. I don't really see that. I think your Cooper Hoffmans and your David Johnsons and guys like that can become that. But Ryan Gosling is still really cool. Ryan Gosling is still great. Ryan Gosling is still a draw. However, my main issue with this is the news that Sean Levy is going to be the director. I don't necessarily think Sean Levy is a bad director, but I think he's an incredibly safe director. And obviously that's what Disney want. Disney look at the money that Free Guy made, Disney look at the money that Deadpool and Wolverine made, and they go, that's the guy. But I don't think Sean Levy movies really have any value on a rewatch. I watched Deadpool and Wolverine in the cinema, had a great time, turned my brain off, thought it was brilliant, had a lot of fun. And then thinking about it going forward, I was like, oh, it's just lowest common denominator, IP, we recognise that, bait for 2.5 hours or however long that movie is. And, that's, I did the same with Free Guy. I watched that in the cinema, I was like, oh, that was fun and silly, and then I actually watched it back, and I went, oh, actually, no, this is slop. It's, oh, look, we Disney, we can reference this and this and this and this and this. And that's kind of where he lands. Sean Levy movies, to me, he makes his movies as if every single scene in every single movie is going to be clipped to be put on TikTok for someone to hype the movie up, or in a year from now, someone's going to just, repost clips from his movies with a voiceover going, the video game character was actually gaining sentient, but the evil game developer didn't like that, and then it shows the fucking, a clip from Free Guy with Taika Waititi crashing out or whatever. I don't think Sean Levy movies are particularly interesting once you actually think about them. And I think for a character like Ghost Rider, I would want someone who can do more with it. Obviously, Sean Levy has this Star Wars project coming up with Ryan Gosling as well. I'm curious to see what that's going to be like. And then obviously the next thing he's doing is Ghost Rider. I don't know how to feel, because even look at the logo. The logo doesn't inspire me. The logo doesn't fill me with confidence. The logo looks very, oh, Sean Levy, this is going to be a 12A, or this is going to be whatever the American equivalent of that is. You know, it's going to be lowest common denominator. His skull's gonna be on fire. He's gonna go, what the hell? My head's on fire! Oh my goodness, or whatever. And I just think there were much more interesting directors for this. One thing I actually realised now, I forgot to mention about Black Panther, is it's being shot entirely on film, which is incredibly interesting and based. Obviously, this is Ryan Coogler using his post-Sinners blank check to be like, Marvel, you're gonna let me shoot on film, which I love. And obviously he's doing the X-Files as well, which he's shooting on film, this X-Files reboot. So he got these two projects he's very clearly incredibly passionate about. He's getting to do them his way after Sinners, which is pretty cool. But one of the things that, like, to me, everything we're hearing about this sort of next phase of the MCU kind of feels like, okay, we're loosening the reins a little bit, which was a big issue with the multiverse saga. I understand COVID had a lot to do with that, but they didn't really plan it forward. They kind of moved scheduling about because of COVID, and it created this weird and messy sort of follow through. And obviously, Disney Plus and pushing 95,000 shows at you and all this stuff did hamper it. So, by all accounts, it seems like Kevin Feige is kind of loosening the grip on the reins ever so slightly to allow a little bit more creator freedom. Obviously, you know, probably the crowning achievement of the multiverse saga from just Marvel, obviously not including like the Spider-Man stuff, from just Marvel Studios alone, is probably Thunderbolts, and that you can tell is just almost completely creatively free for Jake Schreier, who now has X-Men on his slate. So it just feels like Kevin Feige is willing to give more freedom and opportunity, which is upsetting to me when I see a director like Sean Levy, because he doesn't really have any creativeness in him. So remember this, you know this. I did Night at the Museum, that rips, that's high art. I don't have particularly strong feelings about anything else he's done, because I don't think he makes movies that you can have particularly strong feelings about. They're just kind of there. And it worked for Deadpool and Wolverine, and like it worked for Free Guy, because that's what those are, but like if you take a step back and look at them, like a lot of charm and shine wears off for me, at least. Who would I have liked to seen with Ghost Rider? The first name that came to mind was David Leitch. He directed Bullet Train and he directed The Fall Guy. Both, obviously, The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling. I just think the way that David Leitch shoots action is incredibly interesting, and those. I think he did Deadpool 2 as well, David Leitch. His movies just feel incredibly kinetic, especially the first two I mentioned, Bullet Train and The Fall Guy. And I think that would have really worked with Ghost Rider. I also think if they could build the bridges with Scott Derrickson, that could have been fun. I think any kind of director with like horror experience, like, I don't know if they would take it because they like making their weird and gross movies, but even like the Philippi brothers with Bring Her Back and Talk to Me, like they could do something fun with it. But I think for Ghost Rider, you need to take the swing. You need to make it a rated R movie. You need to have it be more mature. You can't. I think to really make Ghost Rider work, you need to lean into that, and I just don't know if Sean Levy has that in him. I don't think he does. But overall, I'm cautiously optimistic because apparently Ryan Gosling pitched his idea, referencing specific comics and specific things that he wants to do, because as I say, Ryan Gosling has wanted this movie for years. So, fingers crossed, we get something really, really good out of this. There's also the news that they are going to be re-releasing Endgame in cinemas this September, I guess because they're worried that the ticket sales aren't going to be good, so they're going to go, remember the last time we did a big event movie? It was Endgame. Why not release Infinity War and Endgame? Because Endgame doesn't work without watching Infinity War, and Infinity War is really fucking good. There was also some other highlights from it, of course. John Bernthal came out and gave another little look at Spider-Man Brand New Day, which comes out tomorrow at time of recording. Ryan Reynolds was also hanging about dressed as Deadpool, taking photos with people. It's like a sort of grey Deadpool suit. That's pretty cool. But obviously the sort of main things coming out of this is the news that I just captured or covered there, which is Black Panther and also Ghost Rider. More things coming out about Doomsday as well. As I say, all the cast were there. They all walked through the crowd, and it was a big hype moments at Aura. I think it's cool to see Simu Liu back. He's been saying a lot how much he wants to get Shang-Chi 2 off the ground, and you know, Spider-Man is going to make a fucking $spy-dillion. Like, it's on track to have the second biggest opening of all time ever in any film. So, you know, brand new day, as I say, it's going to make a brand new $1 billion. It's going to make a more billion. It's going to make a Hulk-illion, a Spider-million. It's going to make so much fucking money. So many unbelievable thousands of dollars. That maybe DDC just gets a bit of a blank check. They go, sorry, we took Avengers off you. Here's Spider-Man. And then if that goes well, I can go, can I do Shang-Chi as well? Hopefully. I'm just excited. Now, the Doomsday trailer is one thing I wanted to touch on just before I finish, because that's one of the videos that I made and forgot to put out because I'm stupid. The trailer has me really concerned. A lot of the stuff I see in it I like, but it looks dog shit. I like Gambit fighting Shang-Chi. I like seeing the Wakandans with the Fantastic Four. I like the idea that Thor is rallying the troops because he got his ass whooped by Doom. I like how strong Doom looks. You know, Steve is back as Man, Captain Man. I like. There's so much in that trailer that I think works thematically and in the story, and I'm excited to see. However, it looks dog shit because it's in this fucking age of AI slop and grok. Make me a movie because I'm mad that a black person's in a movie. That shit. So much of the fucking AI slot models have been trained on Marvel movies because, as I say, they're and I love Marvel movies, but they're lowest common denominator blockbuster. They are the big blockbusters of the time. They are the event movies that get people to go to the cinema. People don't go to the fucking cinema anymore, but people still go for like an Avengers movie or for a Spider-Man movie or things like that. Less on Spider-Man though, because DDC made Liz like this looks fucking phenomenal. It looks gorgeous, but so many of the slop models have been trained on, like Endgame, like the end of Endgame and stuff like that, to the point that now when you see that and when you see the Russos, still filming in their shitty cupboard, and still making Russo slop, when you see shit like that, all you can think about is dog shit AI stuff because it's all been trained on that. And I understand it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that this is what Marvel looked like before. Why are we upset that it still looks like this? But when we're in this age when people are, this lack of, people are just making fucking AI slop videos and the world is getting warmer and we're running out of fucking fresh water because someone said, what would happen if Spider-Man punched Superman in the face? Grok, please make it on Twitter and don't make it woke, please. Like, because you're all fucking stupid. You're all just so fucking stupid and I hate you and I'm better than you. Because all of that's been trained off of Marvel, the fact that Marvel haven't changed up their look just makes you think of that dog shit. And the trailer looks dog shit. As I say, there are things in it that get me excited. I'm so excited to see James Marsden's Cyclops in the blue suit. And also gives me hope that Cooper Hoffman or whoever it is, but hopefully Cooper Hoffman is wearing the Grant Morrison new X-Men jackets. But my expectations have been tempered since the announcement of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom. You can go onto this channel and you can see that. But I just think that we're going to be in for what could be an incredibly conceptually interesting movie that looks like shit. So, I guess we'll come back in December and we'll find out what is going on with it. But that is it from me today. Let me know what you thought of all of the recent Marvel news. Let me know what you think of Black Panther 3. Let me know what you think of Ghost Rider. Let me know what you think of Sean Levy. Let me know what you think of Cooper Hoffman. Let me know what you think of the Doomsday trailer. Let me know what you think of everything I mentioned and anything I didn't mention in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends about the handsome man on YouTube with the good Marvel opinions. As always, guys, my name is Jake. This is where I talk capes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.